What's going on? What's going on, film fam? Welcome to another episode of Let the Film Speak. I am one of your hosts, Chop. Here, my main man, Willie Jack. Willie Jack, how you feeling today, my dog?
Hey, feeling good, feeling great, man. I know what's going on, man. Wednesday means football talk, and I'm here for it, man. So, hey, I'm ready to get it going as always.
For sure, man. Yeah, I know we got another great show for y'all, man. We are in the off season, so of course we being as creative as possible with these topics. And today we're gonna talk about must-see matchups, man. The schedule has been released, and we want to talk about these must-see matchups. Some matchups we got down on paper as some matchups that we're gonna be like, hey, man. I'm buckling my seat in. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to get to it. I'm trying to see what's going on with these matchups, man. So we definitely gonna jump into that. But of course, before we do all that, we gotta go through the house rules, man. And the first thing is like, share, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Become the newest member of the Film Fam. You know, we truly appreciate all you guys' support. You know, so continue to do that. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And then also, don't forget to hit that notification bell, man. How else are you gonna know when me and Willie Jack got something going on, what we got cooking in the kitchen, and when we got something coming up next, man? So definitely hit the notification bell, like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend, all of the above, and I guarantee you we will not let you down. All right. But Willie Jack, man, I ain't gonna waste no time today, man. I ain't gonna waste no time. If first and foremost, we got for those who don't know, we got a Facebook page as well, man. It's called Let the Film Speak. Okay, feel free to join the group, man. Come in there. We got a lot of football discussion that goes on in that Let the Film Speak group chat on Facebook. So please go ahead and join, man. We would love to have y'all in there. Talk to us. We talk back just like in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Willie, that kind of rounded a little bit, dog. You heard that? You heard that?
I did.
Yeah, man. I ain't do it on purpose, though. I ain't do it on purpose, man. But yeah, man, join us on Facebook. And speaking of Facebook, we had a couple different topics that we spoke about, you know, over the past week. You know, a few different things, few different scenarios. We love to talk scenarios, man. Put different things together. And I want to bring it to everybody's attention tonight, man. We're gonna talk about them a little bit. The first one I want to talk about is one we I guess the one we most recently was talking about, and or I guess the one that picked up the most steam, and that was the linebackers, man. The linebackers. And the post specifically said, man, pick the two best players of this group, man. And the group included linebacker Ray Lewis. It included Patrick Willis from the 49ers, Derek Brooks from the Bucks, Junior Seau, Luke Kuechly, and DeMarcus Ware, man. So you are tasked to pick two linebackers. Willie Jack, who you got, man?
Come on, man. It was easy, but it was tough for me. There was three guys fighting for two spots, man. I had to go. Of course, I went with Ray, and I went, man. With I'm telling you, dude, arguably, man, the greatest of his generation, and that's not lightly said because he was in the generation with another guy who's all time. I had to go with Luke, man, Luke Kuechly. I felt so bad about my dog Pat Willis. Chop can tell y'all, man, about how I feel about Pat Willis, man. Yeah. And so when I tell you that, man, it came down to Ray and Luke, man, that lets you know how I feel about Luke, man. Because Luke one of them guys, man. And so I went with Luke and Ray, man, for sure.
Got you. And this is one of those lists, man, where you can't really go wrong in terms of who you picking. I mean, these are all great stacked linebackers, well, with the exception of DeMarcus Ware. You know what I'm saying? For anybody who picked DeMarcus,
I'm glad you said that. He was the only one that did kind of it wasn't necessarily, he didn't really mesh, or it did, you know what I mean, as far as with the other guys, yeah.
For sure. So it's like DeMarcus Ware was the pick if you wanted something a little different. If you wanted a little bit of pass rush, you know, along with your stacked linebacker, you know, so to add that combination. I ain't mad at that either. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, man, it's your Kool-Aid. You just pick the flavor. It's whatever you want. So I'm not mad at that move. But I went with Ray, of course. You know what I'm saying? The GOAT. You know, in my opinion, the GOAT, greatest of all time. Y'all know what that stands for. And then I went with Derek Brooks, man. I remember, and Derek Brooks is one of those guys I constantly go back and look at and watch his game, and you know, do a lot of film study. I love this game, man. If y'all can't tell now, man, we're a few years in already, man. I love this game, so I constantly, well, a lot of times I like to go back and study a lot of these guys' games, and he's one of those guys where a little bit of an undersized linebacker, man, but you couldn't tell when he was on the field, man. He brought it every single play, you know what I'm saying, from pass coverage to in there sticking his nose in the run. And of course, that legendary defense, that Super Bowl team with John Gruden, man. Those are the guys, those were the catalysts of that Super Bowl team, man. Him and Warren Sapp and Lynch, Ronnie Barber, all those guys, Simeon Rice. Those were some talented guys. So if I had to choose, man, give me Ray right next to Derek Brooks, man. I ain't worried about nothing, man. You gonna run the ball, you can forget about that. Sideline to sideline, you can. What do you say, Willie Jack? You can cancel Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, with those two guys, man, it's my stat guys. You know what I'm saying? Those are the guys I would have went with for sure.
But no, yeah, and just like you said, man, like my dog was saying, it's hard to there are no real wrong answers. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And so and you know, so I always tease to go at my dog, man. Yeah, you know, you can't be mad at the choice of Derek Brooks. You know what I mean? And so especially in that type 2 defense for that time, a little undersized, a guy that, like I said, specialized man, the sideline to sideline, excelled in coverage, kind of like redefined that will linebacker position for or as far as like what you want out of the coverage, a coverage linebacker. And so, you know, set the standard in that aspect. So, yeah, like my dog said, man, it's hard to go wrong with, man. You ask me, man. Yeah, man. I'm taking it's hard to, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to look too far past Luke, man. It just is. Like, I can't find nothing. I see the coverage of Ray Lewis, man. I see the inbox. I see the inbox excellence of Ray Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I got the best of both worlds. And Luke,
to be honest,
probably one of the smartest defensive players in the last 20 years of football.
So, Willie Jack, to be honest, he could very well be the most athletic out of this group. Would you say so?
Luke?
Yeah.
No, Pat Willis. Like, if we talking like testing, Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis was a freak. Patrick Willis ran 4.39 or 4.41 coming out of Ole Miss. And
I thought both of them was 4.4 guys. I thought Kuechly was a 4.4 guy as well. Kuechly can roll now.
Kuechly can roll now. I don't know. I don't think he was as fast as Pat Willis though. I don't know if Kuechly was 4.4. I think Kuechly ran a very good time though. He was. I would think he's 4.5. I think he's faster than 4.6. I think he did run a very good, maybe like a mid to high 4.5. No, I don't think Pat Willis had reported times in the 4.3s. I think his official combine might have been like a low 4.4. I think his vertical was also like above 35 inches. So like it's, you know, and like just all those like those style of testing numbers. I think Pat Willis and his combination too of like, I felt he was like just built like a perfect middle line. He's like right up. He was like 6'1" and change. He was like 240. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a tank that can reach 80. You know what I mean?
That boy was knocking earpieces off. You know what I'm saying? Man, not mouthpieces, earpieces was coming out helmets, man. When Patrick Willis laid that wood on you, man. So, hey, I'm with you, Willie Jack.
But I thought he could have been Defensive Player of the Year his rookie year. I think he had like 3 20 tackle games his rookie year in that Vic Fangio defense playing with the Niners. And so, man, he definitely is one of my all-time favorite watches. Like, if Chop tells you he goes back and looks at Derek Brooks, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I like going and looking at Pat Willis. You know what I'm saying? Like, just for those same reasons, man. So,
so is it safe to say let's say we eliminate Ray Lewis from this, because it seemed like when we did this, we put that in the chat. A lot of people had Ray for sure.
Ray was almost assured a spot. Yeah, exactly.
He was locked in. So if we eliminated Ray from this list, would you say, all right, you're doing Luke and Patrick?
Man, that's Luke and Pat. I don't even blink a thing twice. That's Luke and Pat. My linebacker list all time starts Ray Lewis, Luke Kuechly, Patrick Willis. So if Ray's gone, then it's a no-brainer for me. You know what I'm saying? It's a no-brainer. And honestly, man, because just like you said, like it was weird that DeMarcus Lawrence was in there. And if they were gonna have like an outside rusher, maybe it would have been LT if they're going like prolific all-time guys. Yeah, but like you said, like they should have probably, let's say if they take Ray out and take out Lawrence, who would be 2 more guys you would add to consider?
For sure. So if they took out those 2 guys,
and then you replaced it with 2 more guys all time that you would say like deserve to be like in the conversation, like who was the best 2 all time if you had to add 2. I know I just put you on the spot.
No. I like to own the spot. You know what I'm saying? Let's do that. I'm with the all spot. I might throw Singletary in there. I might throw Mike Singletary in there. For sure. And I think my other guy I might throw in there is I really like Lambert. Like, I like Lambert, man. I'll throw Lambert in there, man. Throw him in the conversation, man. We talk about some of those guys because, man, Lambert was, I think, one of the best players on that Steel Curtain defense, man, for sure. Mm-hmm. You know, we know he's
without question. And honestly, Lambert was going to be one of my answers as well. And honestly, I didn't want to just make it a Steelers thing, but honestly, it could have been Lambert and him. I think like for
I would have respected it. I
you
would
know
have
what I'm saying? Like Lambert and him is a legitimate. You know what I mean? And so that's one way to go. I definitely think Singletary, like you're saying as well, definitely a good choice as well. Honestly, man, if we a more modern flavor, Urlacher, man. Urlacher might have been an interesting choice.
So,
like I said,
I'll say this about Urlacher, man. Urlacher was another one of those guys, man. First off, Urlacher was a monster. He was a beast, and this is not by any way take anything away from Urlacher. You know what I'm saying? And his responsibility and him being the quarterback of that defense. But that boy next to him, boy, Briggs,
Briggs.
You know, I've talking about that a lot, Willie Jack.
Yeah. No, Briggs really did have I'm sure he was a solid player for longer, but there was a time for probably about 3-4 years where he really kind of hit a stage or kind of was recognized as a guy. Very similar to how Navarro Bowman with Pat Willis. Like there was after a time, like Pat Willis was always, who he was. Same with Urlacher, and then like that next guy up, like went from being like somebody who's like pretty good to like, hold on, man, this guy's damn good. Like, hold on, wait, this guy's an all-pro as well. Yeah. So that's not a bad thing to say. Now, I don't know as far as him like on this style of list, but
for sure, I'm with you.
Yeah. But Lance Briggs had his day for sure.
Yeah, Lance Briggs was the linebacker right next to Urlacher, was just able to go do his thing. It's one thing when you the quarterback of the defense, and it's another thing when you next to the quarterback and you say, "Oh, I can just pin my ears back and do what I need to do." The same with Navarro Bowman and Lance Briggs. Navarro Bowman, and both of them kind of play similar roles in a sense. So I'm with you there, Willie Jack. And if y'all in this chat, man, go ahead and put in your names. Man, give me your 2 names all time. And if y'all see a name named Tom Walker, man, please ignore what this guy is talking about. You know what I'm saying? He's a Texas homer, so everything that's gonna come out of his mouth is Texans. You know what I'm saying? But we know it's nonsense. You ain't gonna even pay no attention. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, this is why I even put it up here, right? So he put Brian Cushing. And then I'm like, well, if you're gonna go a Texas linebacker, why not go to D'Amico Ryans, who just signed to be the coach and went back home? Like he didn't even throw his Ryan.
That's what I would have thought.
The new coach, yeah.
I would have thought that Willie Jack.
He went with Cushing. But I ain't gonna lie, man, you know what I'm saying? Before Cushing got popped for the juice, man, he was an animal for about 2-3 years now. He really was.
He was an animal, all right. He was an animal for sure, man. Let's move on, Willie Jack, and let's touch on the other discussion we had in Facebook, man. So the other discussion was passing trios. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback and 2 weapons. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say 2 wide receivers, but when the Chiefs are on this list and they got a receiver and a tight end,
I think they're notorious just a trio, though. Yeah, like honestly, and you know what? And I'm sorry I cut you off. I just thought about that. They really kind of played Tom terrific. Tom need 2 trios.
Yeah, because you had Moss and Welker, and you had Moss and Gronk.
No, I don't even. And you know what? Moss and Gronk ain't fair. But he definitely needs. That's not fair. You can't do that. You can't do that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but let's say if it could have been Gronk and damn. I hate to say like, nah, you're right. Nah, yeah, that's probably right.
Don't do it. It's all good.
It's never right. Yeah,
but either way, man, we got the passing trios on here, man. Passing trios, and just
Gronk and Edelman. It could have been Gronk and Edelman.
Okay, yeah, it could have been nice. Yeah. That's a nice trio. Yeah. But the passing trios they had listed was Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, and Reggie Wayne. Mm-hmm. They had Tom Brady, Moss, and Welker. They had Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. Mm-hmm. And then Aaron Rodgers, Greg Jennings, and Jordy Nelson. Now, there's also an option on here that says other. So if you got any other trio that you've seen in your past time, you know what I'm saying, or whatever time you're thinking of that you feel like can belong on this list, or the trio that you would choose, feel free to throw that in there. One of the names that I mentioned, of course, I'm a homer as well, man. Being a Rams fan, you can't, like, I feel like not having the greatest show on turf on here was kind of disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? With Warner, Bruce, and Hope. You know what I'm saying? That trio put up crazy numbers, record-breaking numbers, man. Of course, went on to win the Super Bowl, just like the rest of these trios went on, at least got one trio. one Super Bowl. So I threw them on the list. Jarrell, I think he came with I don't know if it was, I think maybe Steve Young, Rice, and Owens. I don't know if both Rice and Owens wasn't they prime at the same time, so I wasn't too big of a fan of that one. But who is your trio, Willie Jack? Who you going with, man, as your trio, and why?
No, I got you. And honestly, I put a couple of those ones that could have been listed for other that you were talking about in the chat as well. So I got, Warner, Holton, Bruce, which like I said, I think definitely should get some style consideration. Another one, man, while we talking about the Niners, Montana, Rice, and Taylor. You know what I'm saying? That first iteration, and then the next style with Steve Young, Jerry, and T.O. But I'm not gonna lie, man, like Jerry was older, but man, he was still Jerry. I ain't gonna lie, man. That production he was still Jerry. So I give it to him. T.O. wasn't T.O. yet. But
somebody get time out the chat, man. Get him out. He tripped.
What do you got, man? Come on, man. Watson, Fuller, and Hopkins for 3 games a season, man. For 3 games a season.
They was lighting up for 3 games a season. Lighting up for 3 games a season, man.
3 games a season, man. But for me, man, this one was good, man. And I end up going with the Sheriff, man. I end up going with Peyton, Marvin Harrison, and Reggie Wayne. And when I thought about it, when I looked at it, and so I'm like, okay, I get Peyton Manning revolutionized modern football. Modern football is Manning ball. We play Manning ball right now today. Modern football is Peyton Manning's football, man. I argue with anybody about that. So he revolutionized the game. But then the chemistry, the synergism that he had, you know what I'm saying? Like the things that we see, like these connections and all these, like this was Peyton Manning's forte. You know what I mean? Like if you ever hear Kobe Bryant talking about basketball, there's a lot of things he'll say. He's always going to speak intelligently. Now talk to Kobe about playing one-on-one, and it's a completely different conversation. He don't want to hear nothing about nobody. Oh no, one-on-one's what I do.
It ain't a soul in this.
Like, we're not even gonna discuss one-on-one.
This is what I do.
Exactly. You know? That's how Kobe is. He's like, no, one-on-one, no, hell no, that's what I do. No, don't nobody want that smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's what I do. We can talk basketball. We talk one-on-one. We talk to me. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about Peyton offense playing quarterback. There's a lot of things we can talk about. You know, we can talk about more rings. We can talk about more stats now. We can talk about a lot of stuff. But nah, man, nah. If you playing quarterback today, man, you playing Manning ball. So that's number one. But then also when I look at those trios, those got the run that Peyton, Harrison, and Wayne had was roughly a decade.
Yeah.
That's it's at least twice and closer to 3 times the run of all those other guys. You know what I'm saying? Like Brady, Moss, Welker, that was what? And honestly, yeah, because Welker that was 2 years. It was the one terrific year, the one the 1 year where then Tom got hurt that next year. The 23 touchdown undefeated year where they lost to the Giants, was that year 1 with Moss? Was that the first year? Because in that next year,
I think it may have been the. I'll find out for you. Go
you
ahead.
know what I'm saying? Because that's when I really thought about it. They had that year. Then the next year is when Tom Brady got hurt, like week 1, and missed that season. And Matt Castle was the quarterback. And then year 3, Moss was
okay. Year 1 was the big year. Was the 23 touchdown year from Randy Moss.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So boom. So it's when I look at that trio. Well, it's 1 year. You know what I'm saying? It's 1 year. And then I look at Rodgers. Excuse me, I had to think about it. Then I look at Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, and who's else on that one?
That was Greg
Jennings. And Greg Jennings. There we go. Right. And so that one I think was probably. I think it had the least amount of like just instant like wow or pizzazz or sizzle when I just hear it. But then when I think about it, that was a very special run. But honestly, it's too. It just didn't have this. It didn't have the same spark and sizzle for me though. You know what I'm saying? Like
here's the thing with that one too, Willie Jack. I'm gonna throw an extra a little point in there for you. I'll let you finish, but I don't think that was the best trio with Rodgers. I think the better trio.
You know what?
Let me was Driver and Jennings. That was the Super Bowl winning team. Jordy Nelson was the third receiver on that Super Bowl team. It was Greg Jennings and Donald Driver with Rodgers was the real trio.
No, that's a very good point. And see, I thought about that as well, but then I thought about it. I was like, okay, well, that was the more, I guess, prolific trio as far as especially like with that championship. But then I'm thinking when it's all said and done, like I think Jordy Nelson, once he did mature or develop, I think he trumps Donald Carr just player for player. And so I was like, okay, maybe that's why I would go Nelson and Jennings. Because if I had to choose one of those two, Nelson and Jennings, I would take Nelson over Driver. You know what I'm saying? Then if Jennings is going to be the guy that still sticks around and stays. But I did kind of think that as well. But
and it gets mixed up too because also like I don't know if they were all in their prime at the same time. I think Jordy Nelson probably with Randall Cobb, man. It was a lot of mix up with that, man. How they progressed and them being in their prime during the same times. Like it went Donald Driver was first, then Greg Jennings came, and then as Donald Driver got older, Jordy Nelson came. As Greg Jennings got older, Cobb came. So it was like they were bringing in a receiver.
And then guess what? And then as Jordy Nelson started to age, Devontae Adams came. So this is why I never give any credence to this argument about Packers not drafting Aaron Rodgers, a receiver, in the first round. They didn't have to. Aaron Rodgers, they didn't have to, man. You had good guys. You wasn't playing with Lamar Jackson's bunch for 12 years, dog. You know what I'm saying? You had guys. You know what I'm saying? No matter where they got them, they got you guys anyway. But so I didn't go there either. The other one that I did get real consideration on, man, especially just being in the run that we're looking at right now, is the Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey one, because I think they're the second one that had like a legitimate run. They weren't questionably as second to like another combination of players. You know what I'm saying? They were together for a legitimate, roughly a good 5 years. But the one thing I went about against them was I think for the bulk of that trio, it was really carried by two guys. It was Mahomes and Kelsey back when Tyreek Hill, they were trying to still figure out if Tyreek Hill was a running back or receiver. Tyreek Hill was a running back when he got signed, when he got drafted to the Chiefs. He was running back. And then a punt returner. Then he got transitioned. You know what I'm saying? So like those first 2 years of Hill where he was definitely Devin Hester / offensive gadget, that's half that run. Then he came into his own for 2 years, he came into his own. And then I think for only one of those years, we would say, okay, he was probably the actual first option in the offense before Kelsey. And that was just their last year together. And then he left and got paid. And so, you know what I'm saying? So I think when I looked at it like that, I was okay, well, man, I got to go with the Sheriff, man, for a decade and rewrote all the history books, established, like set the standard for today's game. So, man, yeah, I had to go with the Sheriff. That's how I worked myself all the way to the Sheriff.
So here's the thing. I threw the Rams in there for them to get that respect. I feel like they deserve. But I would have went with the Sheriff too because of the longevity, and that was the thing that got me too. Because even with Kurt Warner had 3 good years with the Rams. The other years he was hurt a lot. You know what I'm saying? Even though they went to the Super Bowl twice, he was hurt a lot the other years. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't operating at the same capacity that we seen in 99, 2000, and 2001. You know what I'm saying? Those were the years where it was like, oh, yeah, this is the greatest show on turf for sure. You know what I'm saying? Of course, throw Marshall Faulk in there, and it made it, just that much better. But, like, the longevity of how good they were, I got to go with the Indianapolis Colts as well. You know what I mean? And how good Peyton Manning was, of course. And then if you look at it player for player, Peyton Manning is higher on my all-time list than Kurt Warner. You know what I'm saying? I think Marvin Harrison, to me, is higher on my all-time list than the Rams 2 guys. Now Reggie Wayne, I think, is in that mix, with those 2 guys. And I'm not throwing any slack or anything like that against the Rams. You know what I'm saying? Torrey Holt and Bruce are both Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? But when we ranking them and talking about who I would prefer, I think I would go Marvin Harrison over those 2 guys and Reggie Wayne. Kind of in that mix with those guys. Maybe the Rams receiver was a little bit higher than Reggie Wayne, but
I go Holt over Wayne, but I don't. I think Bruce and Wayne are more comparable as like the reliable number 2s.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you there. I can rock with that. I can for sure rock with that. So that was the thing with my trio. And but yeah, man, I just like I said, I feel like they deserve their respect. But yeah, man, some really good trios, man.
And man, you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you somebody else, and they don't get the type of club of recognition because they didn't have any style of postseason, like real postseason success or sustained championship style of run. But
okay.
Man, Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith, and Keenan McCardell, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You like that?
Hey, man. Hey, that Thunder and Lightning or whatever they called, or I can't remember now. Not Thunder and Lightning. What they called themselves, man. Whatever they did. But, hey, no, I mean they was cooking now. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like they was cooking. You know what I mean? Just a trio just jumped out, just thinking about it. But
yeah,
yeah,
they
nah, I did like that list though. I did like it.
okay, perfect. All right, Willie Jack, man. Whatever, we touched on a few of those Facebook topics, man. If y'all still in here, man, y'all want to throw some trios out to us, man. Maybe somebody we didn't think about, or you just want to let us know who you felt like was the top trio of those guys listed, man. Go ahead and put it out there for us. We appreciate it. Like I said, we want to hear all your lists, man. But yeah, Willie Jack, I think it's about time for us to jump into the schedule, man. Jump into the schedule release. You know, must see matchups, games that we really want to see, man. Touch on them, break them down. You know, but before we do that, I think you got to talk to him, Willie Jack. I think it's about time you talk to them, let them know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Where they can find us, what time to find us. Man, break it down for him, Willie Jack.
Oh man, hold on. I got distracted by Tom in the chat.
He talking nonsense. That's probably
Yeah,
what it
man. Man, I was mid. Oh yeah, Tom, man. Hold on, I'm gonna holler at you, man. I don't know what he's talking about. You taking one over. Okay, anywho, today's episode of Let the Spill Speak, hosted by the wonderfully handsome and intelligent brothers Let the Spill Speak. That's your homeboy Chop and your dog Willie Jack, man. Also brought to you by the Three Amigos, man. Come on now, that's like, that, share, that, subscribe. That's three the hard way. That's a 3-piece spicy. You cannot go wrong. Now, y'all know what's going next, man. There's Three Amigos, but it's a 4-part process, big dog. First thing you gotta do is just tap in, man. We make it real easy for y'all, man, to get down with this Let the Film Speak stuff, man. All you gotta do is tap in. Like, share, subscribe, holler at your dogs, man. Then you gotta tell a friend. Then you gotta tell your friend to tell a friend, and tell your friend's friend to bring one more, because we need 4, man. Bring them up here, kick with us in the penthouse, man. Y'all see when it came over here, we got nice things, man. Air conditioning, warm refreshments. You know what I'm saying? Cold refreshments and warm food in the refrigerator. We up here kicking in the penthouse, man. Come in and kick with your dogs, man, on YouTube, man. Wednesday, 7 o'clock. You know what's going on. We ain't hard to find. Let them know about it, man. We ain't hard to find at all, man. Wednesdays at 7, you can track us down easy, man. We right here doing what we got to do, man. Kicking it with the people. And now, back to the race schedule program.
All right. Well, let's go
ahead. I was going to say something else.
Hey, well, look, man, I'm going to go ahead and start this party off, man, because this is a matchup I want to see, and I'm starting with the season opener, man. Thursday night football, man. We got the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs, man. And let me tell you why this is a matchup I want to see, Willie Jack. Let me tell you why, okay? First and foremost, we already talked about, I believe on the last episode, man, I told y'all Jared Goff had a top 10 season last year, top 10 quarterback in the league, you know what I'm saying? So Dan Campbell is coming in, and this team is playing some good ball behind him. They're rallying behind him. You know, this team is fighting behind him, and I like the direction that this Lions team is going. You know what I'm saying? So they're coming off their first winning season since 2017. You know what I'm saying? Lions had the 4th ranked offense last year and coming to the season with improvements on paper. You know what I'm saying? If you see them on paper, they've added to what they already had, in my opinion, you know, with the draft and with some of the offseason moves. So I'm really liking what they did thus far. And like I said, we talked about all the draft, all the things they did in the draft. But they now in prime position to take another step forward. You know what I'm saying? And then also with Jared Goff and where he's at now and this stage in his career, I feel like this is we can get consistent play like this from Jared Goff year in and year out. You know what I'm saying? I think he is established enough as a quarterback to keep this play up. And if he is, and all the pieces kind of fall into place like we feel like they can, this could be a very dangerous team, especially on offense. If we see a little bit of improvement on the defensive side of things, then we definitely can see this team that went 9-8 last year improved to 10-11. You know what I'm saying? Games. You know what I'm saying? By the end of this season. So I feel like this is going to be a very exciting game for the Chiefs. This is a new season, man. Just like the year before, they lose a couple solid pieces. You know what I'm saying? Just like they did before. Like the year before, Tyreek Hill was gone. There was a lot of question marks from Tyreek Hill. What's he going to look like? Is he going to look like that same player? I mean, or is losing Tyreek Hill going to hurt the Chiefs to the point where, you know, it affects their offense or, you know, affects anything? You know what I'm saying? So we know what type of player Tyreek Hill is, what type of impact he has. So we wanted to see, you know, how that was going to impact them. And sure enough, Chiefs go back, win a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? They answered that question, you know, without hesitation. But the piece they lost this time was an offensive lineman, an offensive tackle at that, a pretty good one in Orlando Brown. You know what I'm saying? Being that biggest piece. So now, although I feel like the Chiefs are going to be all right. They're going to be fine. But I still think this move kind of takes them just a slight step back. You know You know what I'm saying? Not that they're not a playoff team, not that they're not going to be one of the best teams in the league, but we've seen Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, with the offensive line that was banged up. Now, it's not going to be that bad. The offensive line is not going to be that bad, and they're not going to be going against the best defense in the league week in and week out. I expect them to be a little bit more in between where they performed in that particular game, and the way that they shut down the Eagles, in the Super Bowl this past season and didn't allow a sack to the leading team in sacks. I expect them to fall somewhere in between that, which, of course, Pat Mahomes is going to continue to be Pat Mahomes. He's going to show off his skills. He's going to have a great season. But I'm curious to see how they match up with this Detroit team. And based off of what I'm seeing on paper right now, I think this can be a very interesting game, man. Who knows, Willie Jack? I might be going Detroit, man, once the season opens, man. We're going to talk about these games for sure. But I might be going Detroit, man, when they start off.
No, and I understand. And so I'm definitely excited to see that. Well, that game's going to mark just the start of the season. So I definitely can't wait. They could have been playing my JV team in the backyard, man. I did too.
That's facts.
But no, I do see what you're saying there, and I think it is going to be. I'm not gonna lie, man. That first win is it? Do they do like a ring? Don't they do like a ring ceremony or some type of? No, they'll do like a championship Super Bowl celebration thing for the week one opener. So like the emotions are gonna be high. Kansas City's gonna be. This is like it's a new season for sure, but I think like. That building's gonna be on fire. You know what I mean? They're gonna unveil the new Super Bowl banner. Like it's gonna be wired up. Like that's almost lambs to the slaughter. It almost feels like whoever gets served up to the defending champ that opening week one is almost like, hey man, like not that you can't win, but that's just gonna be a tall order. Like that's just a tall order. Kansas City's already a hard enough place to play anyway, just right. with that fan base and in that stadium. So on that day, unveiling the new banner, man, that's a tall order to have them go in there and win that game. But how do you look losing? You know what I mean? That's still important as well. You know what I mean? Like, how do they look losing? And so, like my dog Chop said, Jared Goff played ball last year, man. And one thing that we said, especially like every time we talked about the Lions last year, every time I talk about the Lions, I told you one thing. I said, look, I don't know if they're gonna win the game, but I tell you what, Jared Goff going for 30. You know what I'm saying? Jared Goff going for 30. I said that every week. And so I am curious to see if that offense, I guess, continues that pace, because like I said, this is an offense, man, that for the bulk of almost the bulk of that season, they were the number one offense in the league under the guidance of Jared Goff. And so does that hot trend continue? See how everything shakes out in that wide receiver room. I'm anxious to see them more so later on down the season once Jameson Williams comes back, and then now I want to see like what they do with all these new weapons. But I do want to see what that defense looks like. They've got a lot of big names, a lot of big changes on that defensive side of the ball. So that's going to be, there's no better test earlier in the season as well to like really throw that defense in the fire and kind of see what sticks to the wall, what sinks and what swims, and just kind of let that kind of set the pace and see how they bounce back after that. Because yeah, that's a tall order going into Kansas City. They still on the day they celebrating that Super Bowl, man, dropping the new banner, all the all the extra glitz and glamour. That's a tall order, man, to have Detroit go in there and steal one of those.
That's fact. All right, Willie Jack, what you got, man? Give me one. Give me a game that you say is a must-see game, man. One that you waiting on. One that you gonna get your popcorn for.
You know what, man? I'm going down the line to choose. I'm gonna save that one for a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna say. No, here's what I got marked, and it's kind of earlier in the season. It's week 6, and it's Seattle at Cincinnati. And so I chose that one because if y'all was watching the Power Ranker show, was last week, the week before, I told y'all, man, for me, Big Gino and them Hawks, man, they top 5 in my Power Ranker. I had them at number 4. And so this to me is going to tell me like where they are. Week 6 is well enough into the season. We know who we are now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll give everybody gets weeks 1 through 3 to kind of figure out your rookies, figure out your new scheme, or to kind of settle into the season. You know what I mean? So let's say 1 through 3 is that. Week 6, hey, you are who we thought you were. You know what I mean? You are who we thought you were in week 6. So this is gonna be the core of who you are going forward. And then from this point, this is where attrition starts sitting in. This is where injuries start popping up. And so who are you at week 6 is kind of gonna be. It can kind of give us an early preview on who you are for the season, right? So this week 6 would tell me who they are. I'm assuming they're gonna have a pretty favorable record because like I said, I do think they're gonna be a real player in the NFC. And so also how they perform on the road against Cincinnati, which Cincinnati is there's two constants in the AFC. And that's Kansas City and Cincinnati. Cincinnati hasn't won anything yet, but I feel just as confident in saying Cincinnati's going to be there at the end of the dance as I do about Kansas City. You know what I mean? So I think they've established that type of like they've carved out that role for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So they put in the work, man. They put it on tape. And so I feel that way about them. So if you can go to Cincinnati and then that's an impressive win. Like that's a big win. If they go on the road from Seattle to Cincinnati in that hostile environment, I think that's going to be like a Sunday night game. I think it's a primetime style game. So I don't know if it's a Sunday night or a Monday night or something like that, but it's going to be a big stage game. It's two teams that I think are going to be like toward the top upper echelon of all the teams in the league this year. These are this is a top 5 matchup for me. Cincinnati, I think, was in my top 5. I'm pretty sure.
It's actually a 12 o'clock game, Willie Jack. That's one of the early ones.
Oh, that's got to get flexed. Really? I'm surprised. I thought that. Well, no, I'm not because everybody's not on Seattle's wave yet. So never mind. That makes sense. I'm tripping. But for me, that's 2 top 5s. For me, Cincinnati was number 3 and Seattle was number 4. And so, like, this is going to be a real stepping stone or prove it game for Seattle. Like I said, same thing like I just said about Detroit. I don't know if they win. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they win, but if you lose, how did you lose? Like, did y'all look like y'all should have been in the building, or did y'all get ran off the field, midway through the third quarter, and you look like you shouldn't have showed up? You know what I'm saying? So it'll tell me a lot about Seattle, man. If I'm on the right track there, and like I said, they're gonna be special this year, or be the real deal, or if maybe they're the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe they're the Lions. They can give me so much, but they can't give me enough. You know what I mean? So that'll tell me and let me know. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Got you. And you know what, Willie Jack? I think you may have talked me into wanting this. Thinking of the Seattle Seahawks are going to be a little bit intriguing, man. They definitely going to be a little bit more intriguing because they got a lot of pieces, you know what I'm saying, that they've added to this team to help them improve on offense and defense. And so for me, I know you screamed Big Gino, but Big Gino started to come down to earth a little bit towards the end of the season last year. And I think he's going to be the key. Big Gino.
Hey, there you go, man. Hey, Big Gino, man.
He's going to be the key, man. He is going to be the key to this team's success. If he comes out and starts to play the way he played the first half of the season, very accurate, highest completion percentage in the league, that type of ball, I think this team could be all right, especially with all the weapons that they got on offense now. And then, running behind the newly vamped or revamped offensive line and using Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker already showed that he can be pretty solid. I'm going to be excited to watch Seattle now. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be excited. Now, they are in my division, so, it's a little bit of sweet. But I like good football, man. At the end of the day, I like good football. And then with the defense, too, added, one of our favorite guys coming out in this draft out of Illinois and Devin Witherspoon, I think it's going to be a sight to see, man. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to see how that pans out, and I want to see what this team looks like. As far as Cincinnati, I'm always looking forward to see Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Burrow and Chase, the fireworks can go off at any time. At any moment, the fireworks can go off. Burrow, Chase, Burrow and Higgins, Burrow and Boyd. Who knows? Mixon may run for a hunt. Like, they got a lot of different ways they can hit you. They've added Orlando Brown, who I just talked about from the Chiefs, to that offensive line. They're really hoping that they can shore up that offensive line and really protect Burrow, keep him off the ground. So I'm curious to see kind of how that fares, man. So I'll be looking out for that matchup as well, just like you said, Willie Jack.
And then honestly, man, put this on your mind a little early, man. But hey, man, those matchups, just like you said, man, Devin Witherspoon, man, what do you look like lined up across from Jamar Chase? You know what I mean? What's Tariq Woolen lined up against T. Higgins? You know what I'm saying? I think them matchups right themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's those man. I can't wait to see all of that, man. So yeah, I'm definitely fired up.
I got you. I'll be looking forward to it. I'll put it like that. You know what I'm saying? What's Kenneth Walker gonna look like meeting your boy in the hole? What's the safety?
Hold on, wait. For the Bengals?
No, you're right. I'm tripping. What's Joe Mixon gonna look like?
Joe Mixon don't look like Joe Mixon, man. He looks, man.
What's my guy name? You know his name, dog.
Jamal Adams.
There you go, Jamal Adams.
Jamal Adams. Yeah, nah. Mixon don't
look,
man. Mixon don't want no smoke with Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams, man.
Hey, I don't know about that.
They don't want that smoke, man.
Even if Joe Mixon is not panning out to be, well, I ain't gonna say he's not panning out because he didn't have a terrible season, but I think people expect a little bit more from him. But one thing he gonna do is he gonna bring it. If he don't do nothing else,
now you got to give him that. Now, that's a fact.
Yeah, he bringing Will with him. But you know what, Willie Jack? I'm gonna go on to my next game, and I'm gonna stay in Week 6 with you, man. And my Week 6 matchup is going to be the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Chargers. All right. Now, this game might not sound as spicy to a lot of people, man, but it sounds a little bit spicy to me. And here's the thing. First, it's two interesting teams at crucial points. Okay. Both of these teams, and for us, both of these coaches, they have to have good years. You know what I'm saying? If these coaches don't have good years with leading their teams, there's a possibility that they could be gone. You know what I'm saying? So they have to have good years. Okay. The Chargers is a team with a lot of talent coming off a season with a lot of injuries. Okay. Also led by a QB that's fighting to enter that top tier status. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the skills. Me and Willie Jack talk about it all the time. Willie Jack, don't get him today. Don't bash him today. You got to let him live today. But this is a team with a quarterback, like I said, that's fighting to get in that top tier status, has all the skills needed to get there. He just needs to show it. He needs to put it all together and do what he needs to do. Now, they also bring in new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. So if our other dog in here, Isaiah, was in here, he always talks about how the Chargers offense was limited with the offensive coordinator. It was a lot of dinking and dumping. Well, Kellen Moore coming over here, and I think that he could be the difference in terms of expanding this offense. So let's see what Herbert looks like with a more expanded offense, with an offense that can focus on getting downfield a little bit more. They also add the rookie receiver Quentin Johnston, who, I mean, he can get downfield a little bit. So we'll see, you know what I'm saying, what they look like with all those different pieces. Also, another thing, we haven't talked too much about this, Willie Jack. Austin Eckler, man, he's still there, but requested a trade a little while ago. So does he make it through training camp? Does he make it to season opener? Does he make it to week 6? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If he gets there, you know what I'm saying, what does he look like? Does he really want to be there? Does he cause turmoil?
Has he been traded? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So those are things that we can all look at. I'm really expecting and I'm really hoping, because I am a fan. I've talked about it before. I am a fan of Herbert. I really hope he takes that step because I want to see him succeed and be another great quarterback in this league. You know what I'm saying? So I hope he takes that step. And then for the Cowboys, a lot of things have been, it's just on the back of Dak. That's it. On the back
of Dak.
So they add all the pieces. We know their defense is good. We know they're going to get after the quarterback. You know, so they got some dogs on defense. We know they've been having one of the better offensive lines, you know, for some time now. They got rid of the guy with the piano on his back and Ezekiel Elliott. So you got a Tony Pollard that you're gonna let loose this
free
year.
TP.
They're hoping to. You know what I'm saying? Free TP, as my dog Willie Jacks like to say. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of weapons on the outside. So I really want to see what they do. You know what I mean? Now, I still think they can add one more weapon. You know me. I always talk about the man beater that they got rid of. But at the end of the day, man, Dak, you wanted the money. You know what I'm saying? You did all this. You didn't do all this to lead the league in interceptions. Okay, so you got to come into the season ready to play, man. And I think this week, by week 6, we're going to see who this team is, and it's going to be a good matchup for both of these quarterbacks. Both of these quarterbacks are going to be looking to step up. So I want to see who comes out on top. Both talented teams. Who comes away with the W, man?
And wait,
so,
who was the home team? Was Dallas going to charge? Was Dallas going to LA in that game?
Yeah, Dallas is going to LA.
Oh, going to LA. Okay. Yeah, I didn't catch that. My fault. Okay. But no, that's an interesting matchup. Even on the other side, or I guess on another aspect as well, Kellen Moore, former offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, now the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. Yep. And so Mike McCarthy and him didn't see eye to eye. Mike McCarthy finally got Jerry to let him get him out the building. So now Mike is he's taking over the offensive coordinator duties himself. He brought in, I think, Brian Schottenheimer as well to kind of work the offense with him. And so now kind of I'm sure Kellen Moore's probably going to be a little extra motivated to kind of, beat his old boss who they didn't really get along. So curious to see how that is. And then also if you're Mike McCarthy as well, imagine losing that game if the Chargers run it up on y'all. Like Jared, man, hey, look, Jerry ain't going for that. Jerry gonna say, you mean to tell me we let Kellen go and he put 45 on us? You know what I'm saying? Like you can't let Kellen go, then let Kellen in his office put it on y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? They have a day and y'all can't stop them. And you know what I mean? And especially if y'all lose them, if y'all lose, it better be a defensive struggle, Mike McCarty. And you know what I'm saying? It better be something. But
hey, Willie Jack, these are that type of move, man. And I talked about this a little bit too last year. To me, I felt like that was a scapegoat move. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had to go, and out of all the pieces to this puzzle, they chose Kellen Moore. He drew the short end of the stick. So I really hope the Dallas goes to Los Angeles and they put their foot up them boys. You know what I'm saying? I hope they put a mud hole in the Cowboys, because to me it just ain't right the way they do some of these coaches, man. And they cut them out because Mike McCarthy, wants to have his control, and then they don't want to put the blame where it needs to be, and that's on Dak Prescott for throwing all them interceptions. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't like the way that they did that, but yeah, for that reason, I hope the Chargers stump a mud hole in the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like if
Monday Night Football, that's your Monday night game right there.
and
So
that's
I'm
Monday
looking
game.
forward
And
to
that's
that.
Monday game. I'm not too. I can't blame Mike for firing because Mike didn't want him for one. So when Mike got that job, he was kind of forced to take him on. And then if the team and offense doesn't look like you wanted to, is not responding, and you on the line, I can understand why Mike was like, "Look, man, I didn't want his ass in the first place. Now you made me get him. Now you complaining to me about turnovers and lack of crucial points, and you know what I mean. You forcing me to." So I can see what Michael Carter was like. I can see that move. Like, hey, not if I'm gonna be fired on it, I'm gonna be fired because this offense might not produce. Then, hey, man, I want to take my own shot. So I can understand what Michael was
that's
doing.
even further reason why I want to see him stump a mud out.
But I see what you got going on, man. I'm gonna go ahead and keep pushing, man. For my next one, I'm going week 9. I'm going to rematch with Buffalo and Cincinnati, man. So Buffalo's going to Cincinnati in this one. But this one for me is week 9 is like I said, this game is another game that's like right in the heart of the season. So like I think this is like the prime of the season where like teams are, and especially if you're a good team, like this is the point where your on-field performance, your team health, relatively speaking, you know what I'm saying? Like both of those are going to be kind of firing more so at its highest. You know what I'm saying? And we're young enough into the season that like it's not week 12 or week 13. Like I said, we've taken some lumps. You know what I mean? Well, not to say that we don't feel the lumps in week 9, but what I'm saying is we're still like it's like good heart prime of the season. I do expect both these teams to be. I expect these to be 2 of the final 3 or 4 teams in the AFC. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see this matchup and everything that went on last season with DeMar Hamlin, of course. And you know we know that story, and so it's of course excited to see that he is coming back, returning to football. But like I said, there was so much going on there. This matchup was the seeding implications around this matchup, etc. Just everything that went on, and so now in this next season, run it back. Buffalo's this time going to Cincinnati, but even in that initial encounter, though, Cincinnati came out and for a quarter. Was it half a quarter? I can't remember how far we got into that game. I don't know if it's half a quarter or a quarter and a half, but it looked that Cincinnati was going to take pretty firm control of that game before all the events that transpired there. And so big one that's going to see, for me, kind of like I said, Buffalo has cooled off a little bit, especially from this time last year to this year. In my own power ranking, I think they were in the 5th spot, so behind Cincinnati. And so it's going to tell me, okay, this next year, what is Buffalo now? Did Buffalo bounce back? Has Buffalo kind of regained some of that spark that they had going into this, maybe 2 seasons ago, as opposed to kind of last season where things kind of, we got around this point of season and injury and attrition and everything kind of kicked in. And this is the kind of the point of the season when they kind of went on a little lull and took a little dip. And so just seeing who they are as a team at that point, a quality opponent, an opponent that you know well. This is like one of those playoff matchups that you just know these guys are meeting up. So when the Celtics and the Heat used to meet in the playoffs, you know what I mean? Like you guys know each other well. Both of you guys are kind of in your primes, and you know that whoever wins these matchups between you guys gets a chance to go compete for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So one of those style of matchups, man. So just eager to see how that plays out on Buffalo's side. Then also Cincinnati, I'm really just y'all keep rolling. You know what I mean? Are you guys still firmly? They're definitely in their championship window with a young killer. You know what I'm saying? In Joe Burrow, and so you're in your championship window. But like they're still right. Like they haven't regressed from that performance 2 years ago, getting to a Super Bowl, losing a game you very much could have won. You come back that next year, you take it all the way to the wire again. You lose to the eventual champ Chiefs. Like, do y'all have that in you guys to for the 3rd year now? Get right back to that mountaintop. And this is another one of those games as well. Like, where are you at as far as, are you still that team? Are you still right there? Are you to a very lesser extent the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills is able to get it up 4 years in a row. That's crazy. And the fact they never won one still tells you like what it takes to get over that hump. But to get there 4 times in a row is crazy impressive. And so Cincinnati, do they have 3 years in them to, like I said, get not even making it to the bowl, but still maintaining that like your edge and like maintaining where you guys are now, and then finally do you break through. So can't wait to see that one as well.
For sure. And that was one of the games that I had on my list too, Willie Jack.
Okay.
I got a few of them, but I'll touch on it a little bit too. So you hit on a lot of the major points, the DeMar Hamlin game and the things like that. But first and foremost, the Bills want their lick back. From the way that they looked in that playoff game in the snow at home, when the Bengals came through, ran through them boys like they didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? They want their lick back from that. The Bills gave up 400 yards to the Cincinnati Bengals and 27 points. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, in the snow.
Should have been at the crib. Should have been your advantage.
At the crib. So they come in, they blow them boys out. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of commotion going on about this because of that regular season game that wasn't played, because of the DeMar Hamlin injury, that had a lot of implications on the seed, the playoff seed. So who was going to get the number 1 seed? Who was going to get the number 2 seed? Who was going to get the number 3 seed between the Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals? You know what I'm saying? And all these, at that point, all 3 of those teams were in the running. You know what I mean? And if Cincinnati beats the Bills that night, the Cincinnati Bengals will be playing at home in that playoff game. So there was a lot of implications. And the Bengals say, you know what? It don't even matter. We coming here. I'm Joe Cool anyway. So the snow ain't nothing to me. So I'm going to show you what I do on a day-to-day basis. And they ran the ball right down their throat, man. He threw for 2 passing touchdowns. So they still have that, or the Bills should still have that taste in their mouth. And I'm expecting the Bills to come out in this game towards the middle of the season and really want their lick back, to really shoot towards taking the Cincinnati Bengals head off. So I want to see what happens there. And for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned too, Willie Jack, I really want to see this game. And this is another game too that could also have large seeding implications, because I expect these 2 teams to be amongst the top AFC teams when it's all said and done towards the end of the season. So we might be going back to this game to say, oh, this is the reason why the Bills or either the Bengals have a leg up on the team if they end up with a tie record. So this game is going to be a very important game for them, for a lot of those reasons. So week 9, Bills and Bengals, I'm with you on that, Willie Jack.
For sure.
Yeah. So let me go on to my game, man. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to rewind a little bit, man. Let me rewind. I'm going to go back to week 1, man. Oh.
All
right. So I was going to go in order, but I'm like, nah, I'm going to go in order in terms of, what I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? And I'm feeling I want to talk about the Jets, week 1. And I'm going to stay with Buffalo. We already talking about Buffalo. Buffalo is going to New York, Monday Night Football, week 1 of the NFL season. And you know why I like this matchup, Willie Jack?
Why is that?
It's going to be a test right away. We're going to know from jump if the Jets are going to be a legit, team in the AFC. Now, and actually, I don't want to go that far because teams make a lot of adjustments. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different things that can change. You know what I'm saying? The Bills are already established. They already got their system and everything in place. But at the same time, this is still a game where, all right, Jets, show me what you got. You said you were a quarterback away. You go get one of the best quarterbacks, that's played in the field of all time. And I want to see you. I want to see how you operate. I want to see how you get down. I want to see, can you really compete in the AFC? NFC, yeah, you had the Vikings. Yeah, you had, some of those, the Bears. You own them. Let me see you own some of these teams. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 100% sold that the Jets are going to be that legitimate contender. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they won't make a playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I'll be one of those lower seeded teams. But I'm not 100% sure that they're going to be one of the better teams in the AFC. And I want to see if they can compete for that. And it's not just that first game. The first 4 games for the Jets, man, it's gonna be rough. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, Willie Jack, but
go ahead, run them off.
Those first 4 games are rough. And their first 4 games are Buffalo. Mm-hmm. They got the Cowboys out there. They got the Patriots.
Well, you got to give me the homes and the ways now. These are different ball games on the way.
I didn't write it down. I'm sorry, but
okay. But I didn't know you had to pull up. My fault. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't write that part down. But at the same time, I can run them to you. So they go, they at home versus the Bills. They go at Dallas. They at home against the Patriots, and then home against the Chiefs. Okay. those first 4 games are going to be very key and showing who they are. Like I said, that first game off the bat is going to show a lot of things, but those first 4 games in its totality, those are going to be some games where we're gonna see who the Jets are. We're gonna find out real quick. And then for Buffalo, man, it's just how do you adjust to a new style of quarterback coming over to your side, man? I think the Bills come out and they do what they normally do. And this is mainly about the Jets for me in this week 1 game.
I got you. No, that makes sense. Like I say, you just see what Aaron Rodgers looks like in green and white. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I can see that. And then also, you know what I mean? Josh Allen, I don't know if he's got a chance to play Rodgers yet, like, from the time in Green Bay. So
for sure.
I'm trying to think, man. I can't remember off the top of my head. So even still, Josh Allen, one of the leaders of the of this new generation of quarterback, going against one of the last few left, man. So I think Rodgers is probably the last of that last kind of like classic quarterback that we had for all those years. And so now that's an exciting matchup. The only thing I'll say is, like, I don't know how much stock I'm going to put into it as far as a basis for the Jets season. Like I said, 'cause I think just like with anything, man, they've reworked that offense from top to bottom. And so I think there is going to be an adjustment. Like I said, as they kind of get themselves going. I'm curious to know what the Jets look like week 5 through 10, 11. You know what I mean? Like when you get into the heart of the season. And then, like I said, like I feel like normally by around week 6, we kind of got a good idea of like who this team is, what they're about, where they're going.
And that's another thing too. I'm curious. You know what? I'm gonna say that for our bold predictions episode. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that.
I got you. But yeah, no, I am curious to see how that just what Aaron Rodgers looks like, man, throwing footballs in green and white. And like I said, man, what he looks like. I do want to see what kind of rapport he has, man, with Garrett Wilson, man. If they click up and get rolling, man, that could be pretty dynamic for sure. My last one, man, I'm going week 13. Run it back, man. Where's my dog Miles at? My dog Miles just said they need to run this one back, man. Run back at NFC Championship. He just said in the chat last week. Week 13, we get to do just that, man. San Francisco, Travis 2, Philly. And, man, yeah, just like we said, man, rematch from that NFC Championship game. Man, what should have been a heavyweight fight, man, we didn't get to see that. It was 11-10, with the injury to Brock Purdy. And then, like I said, man, they felt like the Niners never really had a fighting chance. And so week 13, at this time, now is kind of the last part. We're well into the season. You know what I mean? Nobody can hide from anyone. You know what I'm saying? It's 96. We know exactly who Tyson is. We know exactly who Holyfield is. We know exactly who Lennox Lewis is. We know who these guys are. Now we just want to see them fight. You know what I'm saying? So this is that point in the season. This for me is like right before the season turns, like right around this time of the season, week 13, 14 or so. This is where you like turn into that home stretch, like right before you get into trying to really make sure we finish strong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Depending on where you're seated, are we locked in? And are you like these type of scenarios? Well, not still a little early for that, but I say it's right there before we turn, and like it's the home stretch of the season. So teams are still going to be scrappy. I imagine this may have seeding implications are going to be a big thing, and especially for teams like this that are planning on being there at the end of the night. You know what I mean? They're planning on being in that NFC Championship game. This game could a head-to-head between these two could very well determine which team has the number 1 seed. You know what I mean? So that style of matchup, week 13, I'm assuming that whatever's going on with Brock Purdy, I'm assuming he's back and he's healthy now. I'm assuming he's been healthy for a while now. And so now he's settled into being the guy in San Francisco, and now we know what that looks like. And so, like I said, just assuming all that stuff comes together, and then same thing like we just said for Cincinnati, Philly, it's your turn. You know what I mean? Getting to that mountaintop is only so much. Can you get back? Was it just a one-time thing? Are you a flash in the pan? Or are you here to stay? You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts, are you Joe Burrow now? You know what I mean? Like, your guys, like, it's business as usual now. Because now if Joe Burrow don't win 13 games, I got to see if Joe Burrow fell off. You know what I'm saying? That's type of pressure I'm putting him on because he's one of them ones. Because he's one of them guys. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I expect 12, 13, Joe. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking for, man. I'm looking for 4,500 yards, bro. I'm looking for 40 tubs, dog. I'm looking for less than 15 picks, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he's one of those guys. So now, hey, Jalen Hurts in Philly was last year when you had the easiest schedule in the season in the league. Nobody ever mentioned that. It was funny. Nobody ever said anything about the Eagles having the least difficult ranks.
Look at him. Look at him. He cannot get off of the Steelers when they went.
Because when it was the Steelers, everybody was on my neck. And the thing about it was, Steelers fans wasn't like running around talking crazy. We knew exactly what time it was. We was just trying to have our moment in the sun, but boys wouldn't let me live. Nobody said nothing about the Eagles having the least difficult schedule in the season last year, man, when they ran out and ran them up through everybody they faced just about. But anyway, now that they're on the other side of that coin, now that is the most difficult. And so, who are you now, Philly? You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see how y'all get back. You know what I'm saying? Do you jump back? You turn 32 to 33. You know what I'm saying? Whatever Wayne said. You know what I mean? I want to see who you guys are. And so, and I anticipate that they will do just that, man. I think this is a team that's here to stay for the foreseeable future. And so this is going to be a massive heavyweight title fight. And, man, I can't wait to see it, man. Week 13, San Francisco at Philly. This may be my favorite. This very well could be the game I'm most excited for across 32 teams, across 17 weeks. This is definitely like a top. Well, I guess it is top 3. I just said, okay. This is probably the game I'm most excited to see. If I had to pick one game outside of my team or whatever, this is the game I probably want to see.
For sure. And Willie Jack, I'm with you there, man. And this is it will be one of my favorite games too, because it's a different style of game. You know what I'm saying? Those AFC matchups, if you talk about some of the top teams, a lot of times it's going to be the QB duels. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be those top guys that go drop back 40 to 50 times a game. You know what I'm saying? They're going to pick your team apart and do all those different things. This game here is going to be physical. Now, don't get me wrong. Jalen Hurts had a hell of a Super Bowl run. And hell of a Super Bowl game where he threw a lot of passes, but that's usually not their style of play. They like to run the ball. They like to be physical, you know what I'm saying, and use everything off of their play action and read option and go that route. So I feel like this game is one of my favorites because it's going to be a defensive game. It's going to be a hard-hitting game. Guys are going to be bringing that wood, bringing that lumber, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be exciting from start to finish for me, and because of that reason alone. I'm a defensive guy, and that's what I want to see. I want to see the defense. I want to see them guys get after it. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it come down to Deebo Samuels, some Trent Williams, some Jordan Davis, the Jalen Carters, those type of guys. I want to see this game come down to that because those are the guys that's going to be in the trenches, you know what I'm saying, getting their work in. The Fred Warners, I want to see that, man. And it's going to be a great game, and I'm going to be anxious, man. I'm going to be anxious to see that.
No, exactly. Another thing, too, man, on that one as well. I mean, smaller storyline or whatever, but Javon Hargrave, man, so he was left the Steelers, spent a lot of time on that Eagles defensive line, had a phenomenal year last year, left when got $80 million of things for San Francisco, and now he goes back home. You know what I mean? Now he's, lining up and live reps against the guys he was in practice with. You know what I'm saying? So that'll be interesting to see as well, man, to see how he does there. Live reps against Jason Kelce, live reps against, you know what I'm saying, Landon Dixon and these guys, man, that you only got to practice against, man.
We're gonna see who was winning those practice reps, man. We're going live up close look who was winning those practice reps the year before.
I can tell you right now, he can't wait to sack Jalen Hurts. I can tell you that right now. It ain't about like whether he likes Jalen Hurts. I ain't even talk about that. But if you're a defensive player, especially if you're a lineman for sure, and everybody knows, man, the practice quarterback wears a red jersey, you can't breathe on them. You know what I'm saying? Don't rub on them. Don't get too close. You know what I mean? Running too close by them can get you whistled and yelled at. You know what I'm saying? They can get you bear crawling or up and downs. They can get you any number of punishments, man, for getting too close to the quarterback. Man, now he gets to tee off to go snack Jalen, man. So he can't wait to put some hands on Jalen. I can tell you that right now.
Bruh, I had to run one lap because I touched Juice on the shoulder pad one time. I ain't even knock him down.
You didn't knock him down. That's like, don't even knock him down. Like,
I put my hand on top of his shoulder pad. Coach said, he blew that whistle. Lap. It was, you hear me? That's the signal. He made me run. I'm like, dang. Man, I had Coach. How else I'm gonna show you that I had him that he was caught? You know
because the play's dead. They let the offense play on for 4 more seconds, man, and now they get a play.
Yeah, now it look like they up the
he was dead back here, man. He was dead.
Now like the offense up the sideline, running for 40, 60 yards. You know what I'm saying? Look like they just got off on us. No, slow down, bro. You ain't really get that.
We had him back here, man. He was dead back here, Coach. We had him back here, man. Stop playing with him.
For sure. All right, Willie Jack, man. You got any more? Got any honorable mentions, man? You got any other?
No, I'll give you. I got a couple more, man. That just kind of missed my 3. Another one, man. Week 8, I've got Cincinnati going to San Francisco, and that game is pretty. The reasoning is pretty similar for kind of. These are all kind of prove-it games for teams that I expect to be at the top and teams that may have some questions. So Cincinnati going to San Francisco, same thing. that I was saying with San Francisco and Philly, who are you guys? Like week 8 for me is still like weeks like probably 6 through like 12, 13. I think it's like the prime of the season, health, talent, performance wise. This is kind of the prime of the season, and so Cincinnati, y'all keep it up. You know what I'm saying? Cincinnati, I still anticipate them being them, so they're going on the road. But now here's Brock Purdy. You know what I mean? Like Brock Purdy, I'm assuming he's been back for 4 or 5 weeks now, or I don't know how that injury shakes out, but whoever. But this is probably I expect Brock Purdy to have got over those little 2 or 3 games back, work through that or whatever the case. And so now he's had an additional 2-3 games to kind of really settle in. So boom, now Brock Purdy's firing. So this is the Brock Purdy that this is him. You know what I'm saying? Now he's firing, he's loose, he's warmed up, you know what I'm saying? He's throwing darts. And so then you've got a primetime matchup, man, with one of them real ones, real contender coming to the room. You know what I mean? When Cincinnati comes in week 8. So that's one for me as well. And then I guess another one that I wrote down was week 5, Dallas going to San Francisco. Those games over the last 2-3 years have been some of my favorite games to watch, regular season and playoffs. And those two teams, kind of like we were saying, kind of like I was saying before when I think it was Buffalo and Cincinnati. These are established playoff contention teams. These guys, they always see each other in the playoffs. This has been a long time, kind of not an indirect rivalry since the 90s. You know what I mean? When it was Young and Troy Aikman. When it was, you know what I mean? Like those teams, whoever won those matchups went to the NFC Championship, you know what I'm saying, or representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Even dating all the way back then. So, same thing, man. So, just kind of see who has that early lead because these are the games that kind of dictate playoff seeding, man, at the end of the year. These type of head-to-head matchups, we know we've seen they'll probably bump into each other again in the playoffs. So, who got that early lick? Who's trying to chase their lick back? You know what I mean? Or did one of these teams just come out and mop the other one and like, man, so just all those type of things, man, come into play. So that's another one I want to see.
Gotcha. And Willie Jack, you talk about the games that you traditionally like to see anyway. One that I'm becoming a real fan of, man, is the Bengals Chiefs rivalry, man. That Bengals Chiefs rivalry, week 17.
Oh yeah. Same thing, yeah.
Bengals and Chiefs. You know, before the playoff game last year, we were starting to wonder, man, do the Bengals own the Chiefs? You know, because it was like the last.
Oh, Cincinnati got to talk real spicy, man.
Brady calling it Burrowhead and everything, man. So guess what?
That was the most disrespectful thing, man. Burrowhead and the mayor said something about Joe Burrow being Patrick Mahomes' daddy on the news, and said, man, come on, man. Yeah, hey, they went too far.
I think they kicked themselves in the foot for this one. So when they get to week 7 this time, be a little bit more humble, man. But they do go back to Arrowhead. They go back to Arrowhead Stadium. The Bengals are visiting the Chiefs. I think this is going to be another exciting game, as it is every time that they play. So that's one for sure that I'll be looking at because, you know, that game never lets me down, man. That game never lets me down. Here's another interesting one, Willie Jack. The Browns at Ravens, okay? Browns at Ravens. This is week 4. I like this matchup because I honestly think that there's a strong possibility Watson returns back to a form similar to what he was before he left. He gets the full offseason now. Distractions are limited. You know, say he's not going to court every day, however much he was having to go to court, you know, sit through trial. He's not having to do all these other extra things. He can solely focus on football this offseason for the first time in years. And I think that's gonna make for drastic improvement for him. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, all right, I'm back now. You know, I'm back. He has Amari Cooper for the second time, you know, for the second season in a row. I think they'll begin to build some type of camaraderie. We had Njoku. Njoku played pretty solid this past year.
He played good ball last year.
He played some good ball last year. I was waiting for him to come along. He had the body, he had the size, he had all those intangibles. So we were just waiting for him to put it together. And he started to look pretty decent this past season. We know what Nick Chubb is. You know, Nick Chubb has been me and Willie Jackson, some of our favorite running backs in the league since he joined. So we both really love what he brings to the table, man. He runs very hard, man. We know what he's going to do. That offensive line is solid. They just added another piece, it's Darius Smith, to that defense, along on the other side of Myles Garrett. And they have some solid cover guys too. So I really want to see what this team turns into. On the other side, I also want to see the Baltimore Ravens, man. I think for the Baltimore Ravens, all the pieces that they added, they could be very dangerous, man. Very dangerous, and could really compete to win this division depending on how everything plays out with the Cincinnati Bengals. One thing I did notice with the Cincinnati Bengals, they got a tough schedule. You know what I'm saying? So things ain't going to be hard. I know you talked about the 12, 13 wins. That's going to be rough. They're going to have to go through the gauntlet to get that. You know what I'm saying? So with the Baltimore Ravens in the division, first off, them beating each other up. I think the Steelers are going to be improved. So Steelers going to beat some teams up, I believe.
You're a smart man.
And I just think this division is going to be really tough. So, man, these teams are going to be beating each other up. And I'm really convinced. I'm really excited to see who the big Browns are going to be. Because right now, I think they may be one of the biggest question marks coming in off of this offseason. We don't know if they're going to be the good Browns team. We don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to be the Deshaun Watson he used to be. You know what I'm saying? What they're going to be. Deshaun Watson can be the difference between this being a legit contender or a team that we don't know who y'all are. Again, y'all they are the Browns still. You know what I'm saying? So I really want to see that. That's why I like that matchup. Going to the season. And then the last one, of course, you got to talk about the Super Bowl rematch, man. Super Bowl rematch. We got the Eagles going to Kansas City to see the Chiefs in Week 11, man. I think it's going to be another good matchup. Of course, exciting for all the reasons that we saw this past Super Bowl. Of course, they want their league back as well. The Eagles do. Especially Jalen Hurts. I know Jalen Hurts will probably be itching that game, trying to get back at the Chiefs and Mahomes, especially after the game that he played. I know he just wants that one play back. If he can have that one play back, I think that man will probably give up his pinky toe to get that play back. He'll give up his pinky toe to get that play back, man. So I'm excited to see that one as well, man. But those are just a few of the other games that I had that I listed out, and I think it'll also be exciting, man.
No, for sure, and I like those as well. Well, I do like that. Well, I didn't think about the Browns Baltimore one like that, but hearing you talk about it, I am curious to see what the Browns look like. You know what I mean? I am curious. Well, specifically, I'm curious to see what Watson does look like in year 2, and so I do agree with you there. Just like I said, just want to see are we ever going to see that guy we saw in Houston that got everybody so excited? Like, is that guy gone? Is he just a completely new guy? Well, he is a new guy, but I'm saying, does he get back to that level to where he's he's knocking on that top 5 conversation door? You know what I mean? Does he get to be that guy again? Or who is he? Or if just let that guy's dead and gone. Who is this new Watson now? Okay, because just like you said, there was still a lot going on last year. Now he's a full year. He's here. He's in that system. They've made some moves as well, getting Elijah Moore from the Jets over here to be a running mate for Amari Cooper. I really like that. Like I said, Elijah Moore is a guy, man, that had a lot of good talk around his name coming into the draft from like guys in the league. And so, just to kind of see how that looks like as well. And then also, man, that Ravens team, what do they look like now? What's the new $260 million man Lamar do with all these brand new toys in the driveway? You know what I mean? With Odell Beckham, with let's see what Zay Flowers looks like. This kind of young, early in the season, man. Is he still kind of finding his way as a rookie, or does he hit the ground running, man? And now he's got a dynamic guy that's lighting it up, man. Like he showed that he has potential to be at Boston College. So who do they look like there? And so I like that matchup as well.
For sure, Willie Jack, man. Well, hey, man, I think we went through a lot of these must-see matchups, man. Guys that we really want to see throughout the season. Matchups because they have a lot of implications, man. Now, we do not know what's going to happen, man. We know a lot of injuries happen. Even in training camp, a lot of injuries happen, so we really don't know what we're going to see. But at the same time, you know what I mean? This is what we see right now on paper. You know what I'm saying? These are the matchups we're going to see for sure.
Now, here's a question for you, just on randomly here. And I know, man, the outlook on your Rams isn't great. But if you had to give me one game on your schedule, on your Rams schedule, that you kind of most excited just to see your team against whoever, like what's that game that's going, or like I said, this the game you want to see that kind of lets you know where y'all at, or just whatever. Like, what's that game for you on your Rams schedule?
It's gonna be rough for us in the beginning, man. We at Seattle week 1, then San Francisco comes home, then we got Cincinnati, and then we lighten up a little bit, we go Indianapolis, but then we come back strong with Philadelphia. So those first 5 games,
yeah, that's ugly.
Yeah, that's ugly, dog. That's ugly. Yeah. So I would say the team I'm most likely to see us play against. You know what? I'm gonna go week 1. I'm gonna go week 1 Seattle. Okay. Week 1 Seattle, because for some reason we tend to play Seattle pretty well. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Donald has had a lot of
division matchup. Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Donald has had a lot of success against Seattle in the past.
Mhm.
So I really want to see kind of what we look like. You know what I mean? Because as much as we've talked about how all the pieces the Rams lost and how bad they looked this past season, the top pieces, a lot of like if they play at the top of their game, we can still be a little bit competitive. You know what I'm saying? I don't see us going out and
This
winning.
season?
This is what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't see us winning 9 games, but I don't see us just getting blown through the water. Is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If Matthew Stafford is fully healthy, like they say he is, Cooper Kupp come back fully healthy, Aaron Donald is fully healthy. You know, a lot of these guys are fully healthy, and they play the way we see they're capable of playing. I don't think people are gonna just blow us out the water. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They ain't gonna come here and just put up 40. You know what I'm saying? And we get 40 to 17 games week in and week out because we just did terrible. I think it could be more of a situation where some of these games come down to the stretch. Maybe like the Atlanta Falcons of last year. Where a lot of competitive games but just come out on the losing side. Of more games than not. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we get to 6 wins. You know what I'm saying? I think we can get to 6. And if everything goes well, possibly even push to 7. I think we're fully capable of that. We got a guy on offense and a guy on defense. Both of them can take over a game. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
those players alone could make a huge difference for us. But like I said, Seattle, they've been a divisional matchup. I want to see us week 1 against Seattle, and that'll let me know what we're going to look like as a team, especially with all the pieces that they've added. They're really talented. So let's see how we stack up against those guys. What about you, Willie Jack? What about your Steelers, man?
Man, yeah, y'all know I'm be tuned in and all that, of course. But the marker for me, man, when I look at our schedule, I really think we're gonna surprise a lot of people, man. I know we get into the records predictions and all that stuff. All the fun stuff comes a little down the road, man. But I really do think that we're gonna be, man, we're gonna compete. I really do. I'm trying to. I don't know if it's week 8 or week 9. We got a home game against the Jaguars, and so our schedule for
Week
me
8.
at that point,
Week 8.
it's going to be the perfect game to let me know. I want to know where we're at going into that game, and then that game, is that a game we win or lose as well? Because Jacksonville is a team that, like, my team is trying to follow the path of Jacksonville. They started over with a rookie quarterback. You put some weapons around them. The first year it is what it is. Then that next year, you make it to the playoffs and you actually come back and win a playoff game. That's where we are. I'm hoping that we kind of follow that trend of success where I want to see Kenny Pickett take a massive step forward. And if he does, and if we play, if we're the team that I hope we can be going into this, that it's a perfect team that this game. Let's say if this is a week 8 matchup, am I 6-2, 5-3, or am I 3-5? Or am I 4-4? Are we still trying to find our way? God forbid, are we 2-6 again? We were 2-6 last year at the halfway point, and then we finished 7-2 to go 9-8. So like it's good. That's the point right there that tells me kind of where we are, and then also that's a game that we should win. It's a respectable opponent who should be a playoff contender as well. They're coming to our crib, to our home, and so this is a game that if we're going to be a real team, these are the games we got to win. When you got a real opponent that comes to your crib, you still got to show up and handle your business. It can be a tough, hard-fought game, but we got to win that game to show me like, yep, okay, here we go. That's a good, solid quality win, and so that's what I'm hoping to see who we are by the time we play Jacksonville.
Go get JJ, man, and y'all
Man, I love that, man. I don't know how serious JJ is about wanting to really come back, man, and I don't know if he really wants to come back and do it, but I would love to see that so much. I really would.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Willie Jack, man. That's pretty much it, and that's pretty much all, man. We came, we saw, we conquered. We appreciate all the support, man. We appreciate y'all for tapping in. Tom, we appreciate all the comments and everybody else that commented in here today. You know what I'm saying? We went through the must-see games, the games that we really looking to see. So we appreciate everybody for tapping in. But Willie Jack, I think it's about time, man. You go ahead and close us on out, man.
Hey, for sure, man. Hey, just like my dog said, man. Man, 2023, man. You gotta stick with us, man. It's the grind, man. This is it. We gotta make it together, man. Football, we got 5 months to make it through before we get back to real live Bulls, man. Watching football, man. So you can tap in to get your weekly football fix here with your dogs, man. Wednesday, 7 o'clock, you know what's going on. We ain't wearing no watches because ain't nobody got nowhere else to be with in here cooking football flavor like we like to do, man. So yeah, but our matchups, man, that we're looking for at this point in the season, knock that out the park, man. Man, this is what I started to do earlier, man. I preached. Sorry for stumbling, man. Let me shout out the rest of the members, man. The rest of the sponsorship, man.
And that's my fault too, Willie Jack. I ain't even set you up for it. I'll take that one, dog. Put that one on me.
No, you good, man. I got tongue tied, but man, shout out to No Voices Podcast, man. Shout out to Stink Prince. Shout out to Prospect Precision Painting, man. Shout out to No Boss, No Glory. Shout out to all the guys, man. Real deal STL Sports, man, for sure. Can't leave y'all out as well, man. So I want to make sure I shout y'all out, man. Appreciate y'all boys. Y'all keep doing what y'all got to do, man. We appreciate all the love, support, man. Y'all know what's going on, man. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Come in here and kick it with your dogs now. We'll think of some other topic, man, to keep this thing going. Like my dog Chop said, man, if y'all got something that's interesting to you or something that you just like to see us, you know what I'm saying, spar with on the show, holler at us, man. Get in that Facebook group. We're pretty active on our Facebook page. We also have Instagram and YouTube as well, but you can always reach out to us there. Just get in the group post like, hey man, what do you think about this or whatever it is, man. We'll take a look at it, man. If it has traction in the legs, man, we'll run with it for sure. And so we're always eager to interact, man, and talk about whatever y'all want us to. But yeah, other than that, man, hey, like my dog just told you, that's it, that's all, man. Wednesdays at 7, man. Y'all know what we do. We come in here and do our thing, man. Do what we got to get done. And so, without further ado, y'all take care. Y'all be smooth. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.